It's payday. You've done the responsible thing. Rent paid, food covered, bills settled. There's a little money left. Just enough to treat yourself. You're at checkout. Favorite store. Finger hovering. Then you see it. Buy now. Pay later. No interest. No pressure. No problem, right? Your brain exhales. You didn't spend money. You just postponed pain. You click it. And in that moment, something subtle happens. You didn't make a financial decision. You made a psychological one. The buy now, pay later revolution has dramatically transformed the retail landscape. Global transaction volumes surged from $89 billion in 2020 to an estimated $433 billion by 2025, according to Kearney Research. Yet the true innovation behind BNPL isn't the financing mechanism itself. Installment plans have existed for decades. It's the sophisticated psychological architecture that makes these services uniquely compelling to modern consumers. BNPL represents a masterful convergence of behavioral economics, digital user experience, and evolving consumer financial attitudes. Long before Klarna, Zilch, and Afterpay attracted consumers with pay-later schemes, department store chains like Kmart had their own version of delayed gratification. For a small fee, customers could reserve an item, make payments over time, and only take it home once it was fully paid off. A 2024 study published in Sage Journals sought to determine how BNPL schemes affect consumers' spending decisions. It found that framing prices in segregated terms, by displaying the amount that would be paid either weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, instead of the lump sum, reduced a purchase's perceived cost and increased consumers' belief of being in control of their budget. Ultimately, despite paying the same amount they would have done had they bought the item in full, psychologically, they felt as though they were better off. The study concluded that BNPL alleviates consumers' perceived financial constraints. The issue, however, is that the dissociation between being able to make a purchase and paying for an item encourages overconsumption. Despite most BNPL schemes requiring users to be over 18 and have some credit history, research indicates that the section of our brains in charge of decision-making does not reach full maturity until the age of 25. So when young people, who are becoming increasingly materialistic, struggle to afford all the stuff they want, the lure of making an easy, bite-sized purchase can be hard to resist. And if that wasn't enough, sellers are now using one of the oldest psychological tricks in the book to ensure you default to BNPL. They're counting on you being too cognitively overloaded to think. Furthermore, have you noticed that almost every advert for BNPL is aimed at women? Whether it's a 20-year-old skipping merrily as she carries multiple bags of shopping, or a young lady grinning inanely as she lifts her credit card to the card reader. I have never seen anyone look quite so happy to part with their money. There is a reason why the fairer sex is the main target. Women still earn less than men on average, and make up a large proportion of those working in part-time roles. As a result, women are more likely to feel squeezed financially. However, they are also generous spenders, and are known to treat themselves to little luxuries, which helps to explain why women account for over 70% of spending in our economy. Women's lower earnings and their higher willingness to spend collectively make them the ideal prey for BNPL schemes. Why is buy now, pay later such a no-brainer? There's a reason the phrase no-brainer cuts both ways in this case. On the one hand, BNPL offers are, in theory, smart financial tools. Debt isn't inherently a bad thing. When used well, it can free up liquidity, which allows you to invest your money elsewhere while paying off a purchase in manageable chunks. In that sense, spreading out payments might feel like a savvy move. Most houses are bought on credit, because debt can be a strategic lever when matched with stable income and long-term planning. But a house appreciates. But when we look at what's actually being financed, it becomes clear that the pattern is more impulsive, more reactive, and far less considered. Nearly half of all BNPL purchases are clothing and fashion, according to data from Numerator. The average user decides to go the BNPL route because they can't afford the item outright. And the platforms know this. By the time most shoppers arrive at the checkout screen, they've already made dozens of micro-decisions. What brand, what size, what color, which seller, and what shipping option. The sheer volume of information processed along the way quietly wears the brain down. It's called cognitive load, and psychological research shows that it drains your decision-making energy. A 2024 conference paper that focus specifically on this type of overload, found that too much information on a page affects visual attention and decision quality. In this state, guiding the shopper toward a default path, like a buy now, pay later option highlighted by the seller, becomes easy and effective. What starts as a convenience usually morphs into a liability. A LendingTree survey found that 41% of BNPL users reported paying late in the past year, up from 34% the year before. Many of them weren't behind by more than a week, but repeat use and overlapping loans compound risk. Nearly a quarter of users said they'd had 3 or more BNPL loans active at once. Even more concerning is the shift in what's being financed. 1 in 4 BNPL users now say they've used it to buy groceries. And partnerships between platforms, like Klarna and DoorDash, for instance, are making it easier to finance takeout. Debt is no longer tied to long-term assets or life upgrades. It's being used to delay the pain of day-to-day spending, a strategy that may feel necessary now, but often backfires later. So what can you do if you find yourself overly tempted by pay-later schemes? Most people think dopamine is the brain's pleasure chemical, but that's an oversimplification. Neuroscientists have long known that dopamine is more tied to anticipation than satisfaction. The surge hits when the possibility of reward seems real. That's why window shopping feels so good. That's also why scrolling through endless product pages late at night feels oddly energizing. By now, pay later lowers the barrier between that dopamine spike and action. You don't need to earn the purchase, budget for it, or sit with the desire. You just click pay later, and the reward loop closes fast. So if you're trying to regain control, start by breaking that loop. Recognize that the emotional high is front-loaded, not back-loaded. Wait 24 to 48 hours before buying anything that triggers a surge of want. You'll be surprised how often the urge fades once dopamine exits the scene. The next time you see that button, pause. Ask yourself, is this a financial decision or a psychological one? Is this something I need or something I want right now? The platforms are designed to make you act fast. Your power lies in slowing down. Thanks for watching. If this helped you see the invisible strings behind modern spending, consider subscribing. We break down the psychology behind the tactics used to influence your choices, so you can make them on your own terms. See you in the next one.